I'm Donald Trump, and I will make the circus great again.
No, you will not. Under you, the top 1% of clowns have more wigs than the bottom 90%. This must change. Back me up, Joe.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Biden, and, no malarkey here, everyone. Welcome to Politicians Are Clowns, where we do economic analyses of the goofy, ridiculous, and oftentimes quite scary policies our elected leaders enact. And today we're going to be talking about Howie Hawkins, the 2020 Green presidential candidate. His face is right here, and he has come out in favor multiple times of worker cooperatives, whereby the workers of a company own that company. Now this resonates with many on the political left because the wages that workers get would be more equal than it is today. Would this hold any water? Would worker cooperatives be better than the system that we have today for workers? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today. Would worker cooperatives actually work? And the assumptions that we'll make is that M is the wages generated by each worker, the value provided to the company by each worker, which can be translated into wages for the workers of that company. Let's say B is the benefit of staying home, the value that each worker attaches to staying home as opposed to going to work, watching TV, things like that. And N is the number of workers. Let's furthermore say that the wages are equally distributed to all workers, regardless of the work put in. So if you put in zero work, you still get an equal share of the money generated by the company. And furthermore, let's say that M divided by N is less than B for a large N. That is, the wages generated by a working worker divided by the number of workers is eventually less than the benefit of staying home if N is large enough. So even though M may be greater than B, if M is divided by a large N, then it's going to be less than B. So this is the payoff, your payoffs in each of these scenarios. So if you work and everybody else works, well then you all generate an income of M to the company, and you all get M back. So you get M in salaries. If you work and everybody else does not work, then you generate M to the company, M in total wages, but everybody else gives nothing. But the wages that all of you contribute are divided evenly. So the wages each you get are M divided by N. If you do not work and everybody else does not work, then you each get B, the benefit of staying home. If you do not work but everybody else works, then you get the benefit B, plus you get N minus 1 times M divided by N, because you have N minus 1 people, they're generating M each, and you're dividing it by N, the total number of workers in the company. That's what everybody gets from the company. So this is your payoff in this case. Now, what you are necessarily saying is if in the previous thing, if everybody else works, for you to work, this must be greater than that. And that's what we have here. If we solve this inequality here, we find that M divided by N is greater than B. That is, the income generated by each worker divided by the number of workers is greater than the benefit of staying home. But this contradicts an assumption which we made earlier. And in fact, for you to be incentivized to work, it has to be the case that N is less than M divided by B, and that is not the case here. That is, if you are to work, then this quantity, the number of times that B, the benefit of staying home, goes into the wages generated by each worker, and it has to be less than that. You have to, in other words, represent a large enough share of the company where it's worth it to you to go into work. However, for large N, this is simply not the case, and you won't work generally. But if this is your payoff matrix, and in a worker cooperative everybody's treated pretty much equally, then it's everybody's payoff matrix. So none of you will work and you all get this, B, the benefit of staying home. But I think it's safe to say that the income generated by working is generally larger than the benefit of staying home here. So even though you all will go to this, the incentive structure is such that you'll all go here, you would all rather be here, because here, well, you can't buy any of the necessary things for life like food and shelter and whatever it may be. And M is what you really want. But none of you are there because the incentive structure is such that you're not there. Now obviously this is a simplistic illustration. Obviously it's not the case that it's a binary choice between going to work and not going to work. Obviously you can go to work and slack off. But this provides an illustration as to why the incentive structures behind worker cooperatives do not benefit workers, because workers will tend to produce less than would be necessary for all their comrades to have good standards of living. For this reason, I would be very skeptical when hearing people like Howie Hawkins talk about the wonders of worker cooperatives, and I would instead think of the incentive structures behind them and how these incentive structures could end up making workers worse off. If you liked what you saw today, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. Once again, thanks you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.